Caller, welcome to Tanakh Talk. Who do we have on the phone today?
My name is Michelle. I'm calling from Michigan.
Okay.
Oh,
welcome, Michelle. How are you?
Maybe I should turn off my computer.
Okay, yeah, that'd be helpful. Just turn the volume down, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I just told myself a funny joke. Go ahead. Yeah.
From Michigan. Okay. All right, Michelle.
Hi,
whenever you're ready.
Sorry, I'm back.
That's perfectly fine. You go right ahead. Come on. What's your question for the rabbi?
I have a question. I have a question to our wonderful and lovely rabbi, which I love very much. Is there any connection between Lag BaOmer and Bar Kokhba and Rabbi Akiva revolt? I heard that there is.
That's a good question.
That's a great question. Oh my gosh. That was such a fabulous. Do you speak Yiddish? Could you ask him if he speaks Yiddish?
Do you speak Yiddish?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. I know just Hebrew.
Just Hebrew. Okay. So,
okay.
You can hear the rabbi, right, Michelle? You can hear Rabbi talk?
I think so. Not clearly, but I can hear him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So take it offline. I'll take it offline.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your question, Michelle. We're going to address that question right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You betcha.
Bye-bye. Shalom.
Shalom.
Right.
Awesome. Man, that's a cool question. I can't wait for the answer.
The question is asked, is there this is a very good question. Like, this is the kind of question that come up every year. So this is like one of those really good questions. And this gentleman really has a really good brain. And I know all my Jewish listeners are like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not smart, you're smart too. Just this was really a very good question. So as it turns out, we are right now in the period between Passover and Shavuot. It's a 49-day count fulfilling scripture. And then on the 50th day is Shavuot. It's a great celebration. Of course, we also celebrate giving the Torah at Mount Sinai. The Jewish people had to climb 49 steps. It's 7 sevens until that was complete. And then they were ready. The nation was formed and forged, prepared, ready to receive the Torah at Mount Sinai. Now, as it turns out, the Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the counting, that's what Lag is an acronym for Lamed Gimel. Each letter of the Hebrew alphabet, there are 22 consonants. Each one has a different numerical value. Some of your listeners know this. So Lamed is 30 and Gimel is 3. So the 33rd day of the counting is a very special time. It's a time of great rejoicing for many reasons, and to go into all of them will be beyond the scope of this program, but I want to touch on this one point, and that is the first 33 days, which have already concluded, the Jewish people are in a state of mourning. It's very similar. It's a state of mourning similar to the 3 weeks between the 17th day of Tammuz and the 5th day of Av. The state of mourning is such we don't listen to music. We're very introspective. What happened? Rabbi Akiva, who was one of the greatest sages of the Jewish people, he was a man of God. He lived in the 2nd century. 24,000 of his students died during this period in a very rapid rate. Now, his students, to be a student of Rabbi Akiva, you would have had to have been an extraordinary person because you're studying under one of the greatest masters in Jewish history. But 24,000 of them died. They were all scholars. They were all on a very, very high level spiritually, but there was something lacking in them that brought about their untimely death. And that is that there was sinas chinam. Sometimes you see, maybe in the news, it's really ugly. No rabbi likes to talk about this, but the Bible does. Our scripture is not afraid to be critical. In fact, our scripture constantly is very critical. We're very self-critical people. But as it turns out, although they were scholars, and in any other way they were very deeply religious, there was a basis hatred between them. There was a fighting, an inner fighting between them, as sometimes we see in Israel. You read in the news, two rabbis won't talk to each other, and it caused a plague because these people were on such a high level. So just like Moses, when he did not conduct himself in the way that God had instructed him, which to us would have been a minor event, or we see in the wilderness, the generation was judged much more harshly for the same exact sin than future generations because they were on a high standard, so they were judged on a different level. So as it turns out, Rabbi Akiva's students were judged and they died quick. Now, the question is, how did so many people die so quickly? Because they just died, 24,000 died in 33 days. That's an enormous amount. That's something like 800 people a day. How did that number of people die that quickly? Well, it is often thought that the Rabbi Akiva lived during the Bar Kokhba revolt, which spanned the period of 132 to 135. For those of you who don't know this, the second temple was destroyed in the year 70. Masada was destroyed in the year 73. But then from 70, for the next 62 years, the Jews were expelled, but there was a revolt, and Jerusalem was recaptured in 132 under the leadership of Bar Kokhba. He had very broad support until he was killed, because once he's killed, he cannot be the initiator of the Messianic age. He failed at that task. But the point is, there was in 135, when the Romans finally destroyed Jerusalem, flattened Jerusalem, they actually changed the name of Israel to Palestine. The emperor of Rome at the time was Hadrian. He wasn't an anti-Semite in the classical sense. He was just really angry, and he wanted to eradicate any memory of the Jewish people to the land. So the students were likely killed during that time. This is a critical juncture because it is that moment that the land of Israel, he will change it to call it Palestine. That's when it happens. He changes the name of Jerusalem to Ayalina Capitolina. He changes Shechem to Nablus. He literally tries to de-Judaize the land of Israel. We now dance on his grave. So the relationship between all of that is now, for us as Jews, on the 33rd day of the counting, there's a celebration because the students stopped dying. Now, there are many other things that happened on the 33rd day of the Omer. Specifically, a burst of light came out of the Zohar. There's much, much more, but I'm going to answer that question very directly. The students stopped dying, and as a result of that, there is a celebration. There's more to this that relates to Shimon Bar Yochai, but we're not going to go there because I wanted to answer his question. That's a really great question. It is likely that the students died in the war with Rome. Again, that's the second war with Rome. The first war is 66 to 70. There's an extension of Masada to 73, but essentially 66 to 70. And then there's another war from 132 to 135. So that's the second war with Rome. Okay?
Got it. Okay, very good.